Good evening. Thank you for having me in this beautiful place with beautiful people. I call it briefly Beyond Agile Delivery. When I call that Agile is dead, I give this question to me. I'm Bob Marvan, and a little bit about my history. Basically, I'm in digital over 20 years, and I used to work for those companies, and at the end, now I'm in direct family. However, what you can expect today from me? It's pretty straightforward. Some kind of intro, then a little case study about one small discovery project within a couple of weeks. I picked this one intentionally because it's small enough to digest it, let's say, and there is some surprising ending and some takeaways. So let's jump to intro, and I will be a little bit walking around because this will be better. Crucial questions for today. If someone is saying the Agile is dead, then the question is how to improve Agile delivery. Yeah? Like if we are arguing that this somehow doesn't work for us, then we should probably ask this. Following question is what happens when there is a wrong input into this. Yeah? Maybe the problem isn't like in the middle. Maybe the issue is at the beginning. Yeah? You probably know this when something bad steps in. I don't have to translate it, hopefully. Yeah? What do you get as a result? Yeah, always. I didn't say it first, thank you. Shit in, shit out. Yeah? So we are in this pretty stable situation. We got some inputs, we got some outputs, it's perfectly balanced. So what we can do about it? Yeah? Of course, that we can put more pressure on the Agile itself, try to fix the issues through the iterations. That's how we usually do it. We can add the iterations at the end, sprints, whatever. Of course, that we can be more agile and hope that somehow magically the shit at the output will disappear. Eh? Like, let's guess. How do you think this will end up? Unicorns? Oh. Nicer shit. Yeah, that sounds better to me. Yeah, nicer shit. So I'm not saying that this is not possible. However, I'd like to give you a little sneak peek how to approach it differently. What about trying to fix the inputs into Agile delivery? Like improve the starting position so at the end we have better results too. Of course, I'm not arguing so much about that you can't improve the whole Agile delivery. I like to focus at the fixing the shit at the beginning. Okay? So, how to do it? It's pretty straightforward. Every work starts with some kind of design/discovery. Even in such simple situation when you like to nail something, you usually make a mark. So there is delivery. However, usually before you got some measurements and so on, like planning a little bit and so on. So I'd like to talk about the discovery. Why? Because you have a chance to shorten the loop. Usually when we are developing something in let's say pretty ordinary way, we got some strategic intention, we threw it on the team, then there is the development. Yes, it can be tested, iterative, everything could be perfectly agile. However, it's still pretty long to achieve the users and receive some feedback, and then usually there is some strategic surprise, like at the intention, and then there is a surprise. If you remember those two shits, like this is it. Yeah? So my suggestion is to avoid those strategic surprises, shorter the loops to the users. And how? Through the discovery, and to be more specific, do the research at the beginning. And yes, this is nothing surprising probably for you. However, I'm saying add as well the prototyping there. And again, maybe it's not so surprising as it sounds to me for you. I'm saying ordinary words. However, I'm saying do this really quickly and very fast in really as short as time as possible. And this way, you are able to like approach users 3 times more than if you do only the one big loop with the development. Yeah? Because if you think about it, you can start with the research and you have to reach the users first time. Then you develop quickly some prototypes and then you have to reach the users second time. And then you can go through the full development and develop the solution, even the MVP. And then you reach the users third time when you hit the market. If you change the approach from the ordinary like full scale loop, even with agile development in the loop, and you start doing this kind of short loops, you have much sooner the user feedback. And through it, I believe that you can deliver to your team the tactical awareness. Yeah. So instead of like one big strategic surprise at the end of one big loop, you should be able to have much better awareness. So why the discovery? I believe that the discovery basically bridges the gap between some high-level strategic intention and then the tactical brief for the delivery. Because usually there are some like big ideas at the beginning, but no one knows how to do it. And through the discovery, you can a little bit shape it. After proper discovery, you should know much better what and why you should do, you know, on the tactical level. So you should figure out what's missing or what not to do at all. It's my favorite, yeah, because sometimes we are developing and delivering stuff which is really not necessary and we are wasting time on it. So if I'm talking about strategic intentions, it doesn't necessarily need to be only something like big. Sometimes it's something from regulatory, sometimes it's something like improving something, fixing something, and so on. You can, under this, you can imagine all different, shits which are stepping in the process, and through the discovery you can understand them better and then deliver to your delivery teams much better briefs. So let's move to the case, the small one. I did much bigger ones, but this one is my favorite now because it's really like nicely packed in couple of weeks. It was about the Avast Secure Browser, which is another player on the browser games, like not the big one. It got only like couple percent of the market. However, there was some intention, like as I was describing, strategic intention. The situation is that basically from dozens of installs, only a couple millions are active users. So the problem or in the intention is to basically higher the number of active users. Why? Because the Avast brand slash Jany company got the search revenue out of it. So the hypothesis was that by providing the side panel, which is known from Edge, for example, will, like with of course some useful features, will basically raise the user engagement. And the question was like, what should be the features and how they should be incorporated in the UI? Straightforward, pretty. However, I step in the process at the moment when product owner got shortlist of like 7 or 8 features out of his head, and he was just pushing it on the UI designer, hey, draw this in 3 days, and like then we will ship it. And I was like, okay, it sounds like opportunity to a little bit fix that shit at the beginning, because like I was a little bit in doubts that those features are really the right ones and that the design will be the one which user needs. So me and my boss, we step in the process and ask the PO like, hey, give us a chance to run quick discovery for you and let's figure out if we can improve your brief for the designs and the delivery a little bit. And he asked like, how much time do you need? And we were like, like give us 4 weeks. It's no big deal. You should manage it. So what we did, we set up a small team. That PO, UX designer, researcher, CTO advisor, and me as manager of the discovery. Yeah? Like little but multidisciplinary team, and we jump on it. We go through planning and we use for it the Double Diamond framework. And then here is like a little cheat sheet. It's long, I don't like to take you through it, but take a picture of this and you can read it afterwards. So those are the principles which I'm using when I'm planning any kind of discoveries. I'm trying to following those. It's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, you can reach me afterwards. I'll give you a couple more seconds. I'd like to provide this to you because like you can really reach it back and use it as your cheat sheet. The trick in this case was that we have some initial plan. We were a little bit longer than expected, so we scratch it out, built another plan. Even this is iteration in design. We are designing our own design process. We start iterating even in this moment. Like you can count it as part of all the iterations which you have ahead. So at the end, we have this plan. We have some deadlines set, and so on. Let's switch to execution. At the beginning, we somehow like to better understand the situation, basically what people need. The basic question, very basic question. We have those 8 features in our heads, which were given to us by the PO Ben, and we were questioning ourselves, are those really those right 8 features which we should deliver? Probably not. How to figure out what more? So we go for some kind of desk research. We run through competitors analysis, not only the browsers, but as well different utilities on mobile phones and so on. In this moment, we as well used AI to make that short list a little bit longer, to expand that list so we have more opportunities. And we run this short list through the research with like 85 people when they were not only prioritizing those features, but as well giving us the feedback on it. And at the end of the second phase of design, we simply got totally different short list of the features than we have originally. And I have to admit that it was even different from what was my best guess what should be in. So we have one short list from Ben, the PO, another were like ideas from my head, and even I was wrong what are people looking for. And not only that we have the short list, we have as well some other learnings from the research. And then we take this into some kind of ideation phase where we ideate not only on what's the, let's say, priority of the features and so on, but as well we prepare 3 different variants of how those features should be incorporated in that side panel. Like you have the space on the right side of the browser, that's pretty obvious. However, you still can play the game how much visible they are or how much subtle they are and so on. So we have like one light version, optimal version as we call it, and then the heavy. And we were really curious how will people perceive it. So at the end, we prepare in the final delivery phase, we prepare 3 pixel perfect variants of the UI as a prototype and threw it into unmoderated testing with 18 people. And again, like waiting what will be the feedback. And surprisingly, the people preferred the heavy variant the most. It was basically the most successful. Again, neither of us would bet on this version because we simply didn't expect that. We think it's really too heavy. That's the reason why we call it heavy. Anyway, it was successful, and again, this was the second point because we asked not only like if you like it. It was, of course, it was more complex questionnaire or like the study. So we use AI second time to digest the feedback to digest the findings. And at the end, we have the winning variant, and we have as well the suggestions how to improve it. And that was basically the final step. We didn't went for production or to production with the third variant, with the winner, but we even improve it. However, the good note is that we didn't test it intentionally because of time, basically. So at the end of this pretty brief story, we got a lot of different outputs. We got lists of functions for MVP. We have 3 different variants of UI. We have results of usability testing and recommendations for final design, and we have the final design. However, much more important to me is that the outcomes were that we moved from our initial assumptions, put these features there this way, we moved to something what was like really out of our heads to design based on our user needs. This is the difference. And we did it in 1 month exactly. What does it cost? On one side, we got pretty nice feedback from our PO that this really helps him to make decisions. However, not only. As you know, I'm not working in Gen/Avast anymore. However, I'm still in touch with them, so I know that they run the tests afterwards and they really produce the designs. There is the side panel on the right side. It doesn't look so great at this screenshot. They improved it since then. However, what caused it? 40% of users interact with the side panel. Okay. Is it a lot or not? Our original assumption based on the previous measurements was that this number will be around 6%. Through discovery, we moved from 6 to 40%. 10 users really open AI chat, still pretty good, still above the expectations. However, only 1% users really interact with AI. When I was looking at the screenshots, I was pretty sure that there are like, let's say, bits for improvements, and if I can, I will improve it. Anyway, what's the message here? We moved from that initial 6% to 40% and move people really into the side panel, into the AI, and the troubles are only there. If we didn't run the discovery, we will very probably start in the situation when we will have only like 6% of people going into that side panel and into AI, and we will be questioning ourselves how to make this number bigger. This gives us that advantage that we were starting much higher, and now the team can focus on that only 1% users which are interacting with AI. So, some takeaways out of this. The value of discovery. I believe that it can bring you much better understanding of the challenge, problem, situation, context soon enough. You understand the situation much better if you run such kind of discovery than if you simply jump directly into the agile delivery. The process, like Double Diamond or Design Sprint or anything, force you to make conscious decision. And it's pretty cheap and fast way how to test potential solutions. Probably not all, probably not in the best way, but you are much sooner in touch with users than if you are waiting for the final delivery. Of course, there are some limits as well. It cannot identify the market gaps. You have to have some overview on the market so you know where to focus on. Oh, sorry. It's sometimes pretty challenging on project management because you have lack of people, time, focus, everything. And at the end, the digital tools like Miro and FigJam and Figma and so on are nice on one side. On the other hand, sometimes it's much better to collaborate offline, and you simply have to somehow balance it and sometimes bring to each other, to talk to each other, and so on. And this can be challenging as well. So, final suggestions. If you'd like to do something like discovery, you should set it up as individual independent tracks, because otherwise the discovery will block the delivery and it's not good. because like the delivery will be waiting for discovery. Make it independent. However, as if you recall where I started, there is catch. There is always some catch, because at the end, even the topics for discovery should be driven by the strategy. And as you can guess, if there are some, let's call it politely, gaps in strategy, then of course that the inputs into discovery will be, excuse my French, same shit as inputs into delivery, and you are not able to fix it here. You can adjust it, but not fix it. So, if you like to run successful discovery, have a goal, have a good driver, have a plan, multidisciplinary team, and keep it in pace. Otherwise, people will lose focus. It's not silver bullet. It's definitely possible to run pretty complex discoveries within 4 to 6 weeks. I suggest you not prolong it over this period of time, otherwise you will really lose the momentum. It can overcome the lack of the strategy, that's what I just talked about before, and it can definitely clarify a lot of things within the team before the critical moments of usually pretty expensive delivery. Yeah? And that's pretty much it. Now I only like to fix the name of my talk beyond Agile Delivery to before Agile Delivery, because I believe that the Agile Delivery itself is pretty great. However, usually a lot of problems which we face in this phase is caused because of the, let's say, steps which we take or didn't take before even we started. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Jany,
Yep.
who is coming here
Yep.
right now. Jany comes from ProductBoard, and
There is no name for presentation.
there is no name for the presentation.
No, it's a question like, is it Agile dead, rather?
Okay, I will give you the mic, and
Yep.
yeah, if you can welcome Jany on
Hey.
stage.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm Jany. I work at ProductBoard, and before I was a CT for a while, engineering manager, and I will follow up on Bob a little bit, maybe for a different angle. We didn't talk about what Agile is, and so funny part is like if you ask 3 different people in this room, there will be 3 different answers, and if you ask a CEO, Scrum Master, and let's say founding engineer in some emerging startup, you can imagine that it will be completely different. And so we had like internal meetup last year in a company, and if you can take a look, there is 2 panelists, and one saying I hate Scrum, and second say I love Scrum. And it was like Almad, you maybe know, he's ex CTO of the Apiary, so he's like really dogmatic and like strong opinions. And then Lukasz, who was a strong software engineer, coincidentally he was a like certified Scrum Master. And so what was fun about the discussion? Like, you know, everybody expected like that match, like here, like popcorn, like it would be fun. But, you know, outcomes were that they wanted to do the same. They want deliver value in iteration by feedback and autonomy to the team. So it was like, okay, you are fighting, but you are not fighting. So, I mean, if everybody is the same page, I mean, why people hate Agile methodologies? Like, there is a question, and there are like usual ones. For example, like we can pick any methodology and like find something wrong about it. Example is like doing estimation in 7 people to make a one story point ticket. You know, that's kind of waste of time. But let's not dive there. But what I wanted to like point out more like high overview is like people hate when they are forced to do something they don't like. Right? I mean, they are ordering company. You will do Scrum 2 weeks. Now, I mean, I'm quite sure like many people been there. And there's example in ProductBoard, like this internal meetup was a follow-up of this rule. From now on, 2 week sprint. At the end of the sprint, we want a video, and you know, do that. if your team doesn't have a product guidance, well, that's interesting, to get there. Or things went finally on track, and no, shape up. We're gonna shape everything because that's the future. Well, that sucks. I mean, people hate this. So what you're gonna do is like people adjust the way they do a minimum effort to kind of, it's good enough for a company, but they focus on what they like. And engineers like to code, and that's it. But this still doesn't tell the whole story, at least not from my perspective. There's one more layer to it, like working on wrong things. I mean, I hate that. I'm quite sure like many people hate that. That's because that's a wasted effort. And it's combined what Bob just said. He cannot give you a guide, like how to prevent this for like particular increment. And what I would like, this is one of the most important aspects for me, like that you need to work on things which matters. And so I will give you like, I don't want to do a case study, is rather what we went through in ProductBoard last couple of months and what are the learnings of it. So for those who don't know ProductBoard, it's a tool, or I make it really simple. It's a tool who help your product management teams to know what they should build, next. There is more to it, more like strategic things, but the core, that was the value, and this is value. And so what you may not know is that ProductBoard, when there was like it's 10 years old software, it was built in a way it's front-end heavy. And what I mean by front-end heavy, it means when you open the browser, we will download all the data to the client, and that's it. We offload all the computation to the customer, their notebook, and everything is cool. It's snappy, it's sketchy, it works really well. And I mean, you can expect like this works amazingly well for small companies and medium companies. But just imagine enterprise. Well, I mean, you can that's why we had to change it. So there was a strategic decision, like we need to do some replatformization. We need to go to backend. And so now rewrites are super easy, right? I mean, most of the software engineers experience it, they know it's fun. So I mean, this is exactly the perfect example for waterfall. I mean, it's already implemented somehow. You know the business logic. I mean, all the designs are done. So I mean, just easy task. Rewrite a different technology and they're done. So let's say 54 2-week sprints and you're done. Amazing, But that's not true, right? It's messy. You have like technical debt, the hidden domain logic, and so this often fails. And one of the aspects is like you even have I love this, like scope creeps. You want to improve like something which was bothering you for a long time, and I mean you're doing rewrite. So I mean it's perfect to make it better, and so that's why it fails often. And so I will demonstrate this on like one particular component, which my team owns. So the strategic ask was the original ProductBoard was everything was the front end. So I mean you build an UI layer, like visualize this, visualize that, and the ask for us was a little different. It was like, so please build a platform, which is not a platform, but it's platform, and you can show anything, filter by anything, you can group and aggregate by anything. That's like, well, this is a really vague ask, right? I mean, are we building a BI tool or are we building what? And so here is the first thing. I mean, the product input wasn't that good. I mean, as you can see. And so just to clarify what I mean, the visualization. So here is some data visualized in the grid. There is a filtering, there is a column, some fields. There is a similar visualization. Now it's a column, same data by column, by some attributes, grouped by some attributes. And then you have a roadmap, similar data, but shown by the by time frame, in time. So this is like what Query Engine does, right? This kind of like, we can filter and group and, you just build a visualization on top of it. So we are back to the Query Engine. It was not a surprise to the company that we need this. I mean, it's not like you have first big customers and that thing breaks. You're trying to patch and patch for a long time until it doesn't scale anymore. So there were attempts to fix it. Some of them helped partially. Most of them failed on discovery because, I mean, notions are, you know, the saying, talks is cheap, notion is cheap. I mean, you can write as what you want, the notion. Execution is different. And so we took a little bit different approach. Here, we know the strong product guidance. There was like, okay, we'll take a small iteration. We will do some foundation of this new platform. And so we take a use case. We knew that we need for our customers, and we built that. So I mean, you can imagine it's like bare minimum. There's a lot of foundational code, so you can actually just visualize something new. But you know, and you iterate and you go slowly. You have a alpha program, beta program, and you ship things slowly. But you know, it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns. Like, oh yeah, we are just shipping code and it's fun. You know, no. I mean, usually in the companies, you have layoffs. I mean, you have lost the product strategy because you lost the product leaders, and you end up with all these quirks of the rewrites. You bump to them, and this is what happens to us. We, for some time, lost product leaders. So we lost the product strategy, where we are heading. Is this like really the product where we like what we are building? But your team needs to continue, right? So thankfully, this was a rewrite. It's not a completely new functionality. So I mean, you can try to fix. You can improve. You can continue, but you know that's not. It's gonna be bad in the end. So there is a turning point to it, and I mean, you saw the visualization. I mean, we have this running. We'll get to the if it's a success or not, but there was a turning point, and for me, that turning point was a clear strategy for like our product, like director of product management. There's a strategy which actually saved the whole thing. Without the strategy, this would be, you know, one of the like you can go to the fail up meetup and you talk about like what everything was wrong, and I mean, there is effort from a team. Like everybody can go towards to some goal, but if there is lacking of strategy, you just like running around in circles and you hope this is okay, this is not okay. And so in the end, I mean, could Scrum, Kanban. I asked GPT like good name. So Schrodinger sprints or meme-driven development, could this help us? No, they could, that it's impossible in this case. And so what really helped us was that product strategy. And there's like other aspects to it. Bob mentioned one, that's like doing a discovery. In a rewrite, you don't need to do a discovery for every single small piece because I mean, you have learnings, you build that platform already, but you for some things you could do like proper discovery. This enables like having a roadmap, you know, at least quartal roadmap, help you unlock you to the product discovery. You can do an engineering discovery, right? You have a big rock, there's something you don't know how to solve. You can plan ahead and do a discovery. What it unlocks you to write a technical strategy. So like huge bunch of people, multiple teams are heading same direction. It's not like everybody teams going different way. And what else is amazing collaboration between like EPD is our department, so engineering, product, and design, because you do scoping. You want to ship. You do proper scoping. You're doing like not estimation, like appetite, like how much we want to invest to that. What's like the thing we can actually go like remove, and that help us. Those are the tactics we applied, which allow us to deliver it. So what happened since then? We did a lot of iterations. Like it's 18 months progress. So fun fact, we have a version 2 already. It took us, it was like it's July this year we finally killed it, the first version. It was deprecated since January, I guess. But we deliver a lot of, like we deliver value to customers. They use it, And meanwhile, we had time to actually do a proper discovery, engineering discovery, how to make this better. And thanks to discovery, we know what's our North Star architecture for that particular component. We don't need it yet, but we know where we are heading. And that's also an important aspect to it. And why this is important is like we learn a lot of things. We learned how it should work, right? Because customers will tell us. We learned from metrics, like which part doesn't scale, and we need to take a look on it. We learn from analytics, how they are using it, and it's not, imagine waterfall. You will be doing this for 2 years, and you will just end up with the same software with all the even bad decisions you did before. Now you have something better. And so iterations, feedback, and I will point out the flexibility here. I mean, flexibility in our case is that we're doing a quarterly plan. What are the things we want to deliver? But still, there is a flexibility. If something new emerges, you have ability to, I mean, this is way more important. And so that's I mean, in small startup, you can do this in daily basis, right? I mean, there is amazing feedback. Yeah, I'm just going to implement it. That's done. I will go back. In bigger companies, you cannot do that. But still, you need to have this flexibility because otherwise, you're just going through the plan, and that sucks. So you may ask, is rewrite done? Of course, it's not. I mean, how could you rewrite something you built for 8 years, all the aspects, and do it in a year and a half? But what we have is a working software where we make the decision that all the new customers are using only that new software. And so we are enforcing us to make it better. All the other, older customers, they are adapting in their pace. But until today, is 40%, or clients which represent 40% of our ARR is already in use it. We see monthly engagement growing 30%. So we see that they are adapting, they're creating more things in the new boards. And it's this is the way we deliver the value and we deliver use case. And so this is this is a topic, right? So is agile or agile methodology that? Well, my answer is quite easy. Who gives a fuck? Because I mean, every team could pick a way how they want to operate, but the important aspect is there that they need to align with what organization needs and what their client needs. I will make an example. In our company, we have AI team, and they are doing a shape up because we as a company saying that this could fail. There's 20% chance this will work to something, but we accept that for them is okay. Other teams work differently. So what's important is improve continuously. And I don't mean it's just product. I mean the teams. You need to improve continuously. You need to have a power to see if something doesn't work, change it, right? Don't do a dogmatic, by the book, some methodology. Find a way how make your delivery better. That's your responsibility. But in the end, still, why you are doing that? Because you need to deliver value, deliver to customers, and actually that's what matters, nothing else. And that's it for me. Thank you.
The next speaker is Marian.
Hey.
So please welcome him on the stage.
Ciao. Hey, hey.
Do you want to do a quick intro on yourself?
I guess I will make it work on my own, and you made a pretty good job at the very beginning. So let's make it work for us, okay?
Okay. Come more here so Kuba can break the cheese.
So hopefully you've got enough of refreshments. And I know the topic of today's meetup is sort of pretty much exposed, and there has been a pretty good questions around is Agile that or not. And actually, I like the answers of Jany, which is not really, I don't care about Agile, about methodologies. What I care about is whether we deliver value or not. Of course, we might be arguing, yes, it's part of the Agile delivery methodologies and systems and whatever, but show me how many companies have adopted these sort of principles to the very end, right? So that's the number one thing. And today I want to expose a real story, which is the way how I regard certain roles as a Scrum Master. Anybody Scrum Master here, please? Amazing. And the reason why we brought popcorn, by the way, is that a couple of people on LinkedIn were written to us, I will bring popcorn because there will be a battle moving on. So take your back seats, please, and we'll make it work. Today, I really want to show some sort of a true story about adding and basically benefiting from the roles and compare that to the old way of, let's say, 1990 about Scrum Master taking care of the process only, as opposed to bringing value. So let's start it work. I think you know this puppet, Pinocchio, and again, my deep apologies. That's the way sometimes how I see Scrum Masters in a couple of companies. By the way, let's differentiate Scrum Masters in the product-based companies and the project ones. I know it makes a huge difference, so please pay attention on that. Usually what I see is that when I see a Scrum Master in a team, what happens is that most of the time they are owning the process as such, if you know what I mean, and they are helping us to facilitate basically the ceremonies and keeping the life cycle of hopefully the value delivery as is. Usually Scrum Masters in my era are great at moving from, let's say, team efficiency of 1 out of 5 to 3 out of 5. What I see sometimes in larger companies that 3 out of 5 is the maximum that we can achieve, and Scrum Masters are keeping it there. There is no way you can get to 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 because we are basically conserving the process. This is the way how we have to work. My manager has told me that this is how we measure our efficiency, I mean velocity and story points usually. Because it goes to my reports, you have no right to change it. If you start experimenting, again, fuck off. No pairing because it will lower my basically story point estimates. If you start doing more programming, I will kill you. No time for experimenting because it will have an impact towards my reports that I'm reporting to my CTO. I'm not saying that's your case, hopefully not. I'm just saying as I'm going through a multitude of companies these days, this is the case. So hopefully, let me expose the way how we can get with the Scrum Master roles and the Agile Coach roles to, let's say, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 rating in terms of the team efficiency. We made a transition, and that was a transition that we started at Muse, one of the unicorns. And by the way, thank again to Jany, because ProductBoard is the other unicorn in our territory, which is moving from Scrum Masters to some sort of Agile coaches, and really redefining their role, their mission, and their value. There is no surprise that these things are happening. I witnessed a couple of companies that are moving towards this role. The question is all the time, how is this role being applied in the real world? Usually what I observe that after this sort of change, and we are really making it work to higher stage and to the higher proficiency. And that's what we are going towards, meaning to make the teams more efficient and more performing towards the value delivery. So the way how I sort of start seeing these people are that we want to enable, and I think Jany was pointing to that very well. We want to make these people ambassadors of continuous improvement. Again, continuous improvement. Again, part of basically the Agile Manifesto, of course. In other words, I don't want to see these people holding processes and sticking to it. I want to see these people trying to experiment and experimenting with things, the way how we work, how we can improve the system. Of course, it's part of the retrospectives. The difference is that we want to make it work in the real world. So usually, you see the term of Agile coaches. Normally, I would say it's about all the delivery, but of course, as we've said here, it's not about the delivery itself, it's about the discovery itself. In the end of the day, we talk about the value. So I want to see coaches that are here to help us deliver the true value. Again, this is the real story. Rashid couldn't be here because he's from Amsterdam, and he was my first Agile coach that I hired. Was taking care as an experiment of one tribe, which was something around 6 people. He's at Muse for 3 years already. And basically, we started with him this mission of transitioning and basically benefiting from this role in a real world with no, I would say, job description written just on the paper. I think these days, of course, there's a couple of Agile coaches on top, basically. And again, I want to see you considering these people as those who are helping us to improve continuously the way how we work and how we deliver the value itself. So what was part of the transition? Of course. It's not a one-on-ones. Basically, what I meant to say, let's say we have a company of 10 teams. Each and every team has their own Scrum Master, potentially. What I want to end up with is potentially 2 to 3 Agile coaches, not more, who are taking care of a multitude of the teams, might be 4 to 6 teams maximum. There are some people who are compliant with the, I would say, continuous improvement mindset. There are some people who are not that compliant with that. Therefore, it's sort of, I'm sorry to say it, we use it as a filter criteria to make sure that only the people who are demonstrating physically the continuous improvements and the small improvement iterations are the ones that we want to work with. Eventually, the rest of people, we could use them as product owners usually, or in case they were pretty technical and wanted to go this way, we offer them, the path towards the engineering development path. The other thing, of course, Agile coaches were not people who are deep in the weeds of working with one single team. They usually report to the second level manager and they're helping the whole tribe of, let's say, maximum 6 teams altogether. And this way, they are improving these teams in parallel. This is the very list that we created for the first time when I hired Rashid about, hey Rashid, so tell me what Agile coach means, and this was really my question. And we came up with the job description in the end, which consists of 2 streams. The first stream is the value flow. And as you can see, it's all about continuous improvements, improve via methodology via metrics, and make the changes that you apply persistent. I mean the ones that you want to adopt in real. The other thing is some sort of evangelism around, meaning I want to see these people to be the ones that basically show the word, and they are constantly learning and empowering other people, and sort of act as the right meaning for providing what's about Agile methodology in real. They are, for example, the ones who start having onboarding talks with each and every person at the company, explaining what the agility means for us in real, as opposed to just, okay, maybe you know something about it. So what I mean to say here is that it's all about education and adoption, and basically understanding that, making sure that people understand the basics, which again, there was a question, yeah, but Agile is not that, because Discovery is part of Agile framework and Agile mindset. I might argue that nobody has explained Agile mindset well enough to the new joiners in the company. Same goes with, by the way, going back to Jany, and Bob, we were talking about strategy, right? So imagine you hire a new engineering manager, you hire a new software developer, but you give a shit and you don't explain them about what's your product strategy or what's the reason certain things are on the roadmap, while at the same time we are asking them to be part of prioritization meetings. Does it make sense? You can scan this code and see the whole basically career framework and the way how I applied it for Agile coaches, of course, if you would mind. And again, consists of the methodologies and evangelism. There is one important thing is that these people, they are pretty knowledgeable in a multitude of different methodologies, but in the end of the day, as we said, nobody takes care about methodologies. Whatever methodology you choose, it's up to you. The most important thing is that you do deliver what? Value. Of course. I want to give you some sort of a framework that we used in order to empower the right people that want to bring us the continuous improvement mindset. To me, again, the continuous improvement mindset is something that you want to create as a part of your culture, potentially, if you mean it seriously. If you are asking your teams as a CTO to be keen to improve things continuously while you don't care and you don't demonstrate it, they will not do it for you because you don't demonstrate that you keep things as they are, of course. So what I mean to say, this is the framework that we used, and each and every person, I mean each and every Agile coach was part of this game. What was the game about? The game is pretty simple. You have a couple of teams your own in your tribe, group, whatever. Of course, you have your own backlog of what are the things that we might consider to be meaningful for improvement. And what I want to see, and the contract is simple, each and every Agile coach has one single item per team that is in progress, that they help improving. Nothing more than that. Not 0, not 5, not 10, 1. Meaning we apply, again, eat your dog food, Kanban, work in progress limits. This way we make sure that we improve the system continuously and we demonstrate this principle. What's important to mention here, as you can see, each and everything, it wasn't about, hey, Carl, please help us doing retrospectives better, or help us make sure that we slice the value better. It was very specific, meaning we were able to measure the KPI, and I will show you the real use cases. And of course, after things are being done, it doesn't end by saying, okay, now it's done, checked. What we really checked is the adoption, meaning, is the improvement persistent? Or does it evaporate after another sprint? And only after we demonstrated the persistence, the durability of that improvement, we said, yes, you made a good job, Patrick. So this is how we went through, and moving you through some real couple of cases. Let's imagine the team number 1, they have eventually the problem with not delivering on their roadmap, I mean the quarterly roadmap. So when you deep dive a little bit better, you see that, for example, they are not compatible with the strategy. Eventually, by the way, when I go through the companies, half of the companies do not have product strategy. Surprise. Having said that, if you do have the product strategy, but your team is working 70% of their time on something totally different, wake up, again, criteria not met. So therefore, there's one of the criteria that we mentioned is the roadmap contribution. I want to see that 60% of our total allocation goes towards the roadmap. You might be saying, out of that, 55% or 45% goes to the OKR-related improvements. This might be your goal. Moving maybe from 0 or from 10% to 45 is a pretty good achievement already. The other use case, synergy boost. We talk about the triad, the trios, the product trios or duos, whatever. So one of the tasks for Rashid was, hey, please, man, help me to improve the synergy, meaning the cooperation between the product manager and an engineering manager in this team. Because it seems like they don't really cope together. You can have a very well, nicely written product trio document. But believe me, if these guys have no synergy in between, it does not work. So the mission of this person was to creating that synergy, or eventually sort of replace and combine the right people together. And again, it was time constrained, meaning like I want to see the change happening in 2 months or making the decision in 1 month. The other thing, usually, and this one is huge, usually what we see is that there is so many initiatives that are ongoing, and the question of the management is like, why the heck we don't deliver, or we deliver just half of the roadmap each and every quarter? Most of the cases is this: we do not have focus, meaning each and every person in your team works on their own epic. Wake up, you don't have a team. You have a bunch of individuals, that's it. You don't have a team. So the way how you can improve it is by saying, I want to make sure that we work at least maximum on, let's say, 2 epics per team, given the case that, for example, the team has 6 developers. I would say 2 engineers per team, meaning could be 3 epics, but there's the 3rd epic hidden. Can you tell me which epic is hidden here? Business as usual. Wake up, of course. We don't work only on those 2 product-related epics. We always work on some sort of business as usual or keep the lights on. So don't tell me I have to work on the 3rd epic in parallel that will help us deliver the value. We will just slow down the machine. So thank you for that. Another use case, we're talking about, with Bob and with Jany, about discovery. Of course, if your program manager is just handing over the specification, because the other people are monkeys eventually. So we need to tell them what to do and how to do it. Then you want to improve that. The way how you can improve it is either, for example, you measure the amount of interaction between in the product discovery phase with engineering. No surprise. And let's start to move it from 0 to, let's say, 10 or 15%. That's a pretty good achievement already, and I want to see that happening in 2 months, meaning I will measure that in the last 4 sprints. How you can do that? You can enable spikes, meaning you will not allow any issues entering the sprint that are either too complex or too uncertain, or features. Instead, create spikes that will analyze what the program manager really means by that 1-sentence specification, and make sure that people understand what's the value, what are the metrics by which we measure the value delivered. Eventually, you can work on discovery epics as well, right? And basically measure either the quantity or basically the time spent on these issues in progress. The use case number 5, value slicing. I think you know the meme that is currently pretty viral on LinkedIn, I guess, which is we have 2 years roadmap, but we are agile because we will basically slice the 2 years roadmap into bi-weekly cadence, and that's roughly it. Similar to that. So if I want to deliver the value iteratively, maybe let's start slicing the value. How many of you have had a chance to basically talk about what are the different ways, or have had a workshop in your company? What are the different ways how to slice the value? I don't think much. I don't think many. We'll go faster. Backlog size. Again, one of the criteria I want to see, right? If I met the team for the first time and I want to see what's their quality, the very first thing that I'm checking is whether they have the strategy, the roadmap, and what's their backlog size. That will tell you already pretty consistently what's their quality. And again, I want to see that this size will be reduced maximum to the amount of what you can do in 3 sprints, or eventually 2 sprints. How many people of you have 235 basically issues, epics, bugs, or tasks, or stories in your backlog? Like how you can live with that? Don't tell me you prioritize things out of the Jira. No, you don't. You prioritize things out of your mind because nobody wants to go through the list. Case number 7, acceptance criteria. We want to deliver the value, of course. Eventually, we really want to know what it means, what needs to be delivered. Therefore, maybe let's enable the grooming and let's create the acceptance criteria in the right manner. Again, you would be surprised how many companies don't even have the grooming in their mind. And of course, as we said, the value, for example, what I want to see is that each and every epic, each and every iteration that brings some sort of iterative value towards the customer has the price tag on top. Not only the effort, but also the price tag, please. Might be small, medium, large, extra large, whatever, but let's start to think this way. In other words, if I see an epic that is eventually in progress with no price tag on top, I'm gonna kill you. It's not allowed. One of the last use cases, sprint completion. How many of you maybe had a rich experience of working in a team that is delivering in the sprints only 50% of their commitments or the plans? How does it feel? How does it feel? Are you satisfied with your work? Are you basically motivated? No. The funny thing is, the amount of stories or story points that you are saying you might want to deliver, it is you defining that. Who's telling you it should be 42? Why not 26? So again, I want to see that the sprint completion is at least 80%, meaning promised versus delivered. And things go on, right? So the way how I want to make you, for example, go through these use cases is to really think how to use these people as Scrum Masters or Agile coaches in a much more meaningful way as opposed to just owning the process or the ceremonies. That is my message. And again, I'm not saying that Scrum is really that. What I'm saying is the way how Scrum or basically Agility or Agile is implemented is, I would say, comic or funny in reality. And of course, you can, out of it, what you can do is measure, for example, the maturity of the teams. Let's say I want to have the teams and their rating at least 4 out of 5. And this might be the criteria and the KPIs that you can look for. What's really important here is, for example, I want to make sure that I deliver the roadmap each and every quarter, at least 80%. But that's not enough. I want to close the loop, again, agility, which means adoption rate. I want to make sure that the features or the functionality that we delivered is actually used and accepted by the users. So imagine you have such an agile coach in your company or in your tribe, you being a director or VP or CTO. How would you say whether they are doing a great job? What's your estimate? What's your proposal? Please raise your hand or shout out on me. Maybe any, hopefully we have some merch or we don't. Maybe we will give it to you again next time. Let's see how it goes. We do, perfect. So please, whatever comes to your mind, how would you, basically after a quarter, how would you say, hey Rashid, you made a great job, or you did not? What's your proposal here? Attrition rate. Okay, what do you mean by the attrition?
How many people quit because of the agile coach?
I think we have a winner. Another one? Go on, please.
You mentioned that you have KPIs.
KPIs. Bravo. Bravo. We are getting closer. Team's performance. Again, getting very close. Happiness might be EMPS score. Again, you made it. Delivery. The value. Woohoo! Okay, nice. ARR. Wow. Okay. Okay.
There.
What's that?
If they take a month off, nothing breaks.
Okay. Change failure rate. Okay. Nice. Actually, this is a pretty good metrics for manager themselves, by the way. Okay. With no further ado, for example, this is how we measured it. Again, back to the point. Let's summarize the amount of improvements that you've made, that you've been part of, and whether you met the criteria. And not only meeting the criteria, but what's important here it's adopted, meaning the change is persistent. And it's 60%. The 40%, of course, they contribute to the team health score overall with the synergies and other things. Of course, we might tie it to other, let's say, business-related metrics, but this was it for the very good beginning.
Who is the winner?
The winner, formally said, we have the winner talking about the KPIs because that's the most close answer. So thank you, Alex, for that. So please, round of applause for Alex. And of course, the attrition rate is my secret candidate. The other question, who the hell is submitting improvement ideas for Agile coaches? What do you think?
Everybody.
Thank you. That was a very simple one. Of course, you need to open the submission input to others to make it work and to have it highly transparent. So we are coming to the end. I do know that this is sort of provocative, but I really mean it. Meaning, if you are just measuring the velocity and you think that's great, and you report it formally, it's not just an indicator, but it's a hard KPI. If you just facilitate ceremonies, you've never contributed with your idea into the strategy, or you don't basically improve the system, just keep it as is, then to me, I hope you will not stay here for too long. And sorry to put it this way, it's just a wake-up call to make sure that you understand your value, because this is not the value that you provide, or you can provide. You can do better. This is the message. If you stay here, good luck. You keep your certificate, please. The last 2 minutes, please. I created a list of, I would say, 10 points I would want you to check. And evaluate whether your Agile coach, Scrum Master, product owner, or whoever that is who owns your Agile process or Agile methodology or Agile mindset is good at their job or not. If you're having score to 3 out of 10, max, then I don't think we are compatible. If you are just in between, maybe I will give you a chance to improve. If it's more than 7 out of 10, we might be friends. And again, is it about the velocity of the team? No. I want to see you to contribute to the company strategy. I want to see that you know how much your team is working off roadmap, because you can do it. You can read Jira, right? I want to make sure that you actually deliver majority of the sprints. I want to see that your backlog is not 2,000 items. I want to see that you make sure that your team has focus in terms of the ethics. I want to see that eventually you help me as a team member or team lead resolve some sort of a personal situation between the two people having different opinions or something, or some sort of chemistry incompatibility, right? I want to see that your team works on discovery. I want to see that your team delivers value to the production incrementally. Might be weeks. If you are the B2C, if you are the B2B, it might be months, of course. The choice is yours. In the end of the day, what matters the most? I want to see that throughout the roadmap, you deliver your goals, at least 80% plus. And the things that we've adopted, because you have as an Agile coach, you have the chance to say what things are right or wrong in terms of the hypothesis and product hypothesis. I want to see that basically your team that you are part of is really successful in the adoption of the new functionality. It's very simple, right? So that's how you can think of the role and how we call it, Agile coach, Scrum Master, or product or project manager. Of course, let's keep in mind, we really do have to differentiate between the, I would say, product organization and project organizations, where you don't really have the chance to influence things. You just follow the process and deliver the project. I want to be sort of provocative here. I was saying last 2 minutes, so sorry, Amy, for that. You know me. Basically, if one Scrum Master is roughly 120K cost per month, having 10 teams and Scrum Masters for each and every team is this figure. So my question is, can we use it better? I know you can shout at me, I know you can hate me, but this is how I think of it. This is how you should think of it. So call to action, please go through the checklist. Ask yourself the question, what was the last time you made some sort of improvements in your flow, or you are blocked because the reports have to look nice, or whatever that is. And again, Agile coaches, they really helped us build the high-performing teams, and we made the teams to the high-performing mode, which allows us to kill the competition. The Agile coaches, they really matter because they are part of the bigger mission. So that is my message. Deal with it.